Okay, so today we're introducing supplementary, complementary, adjacent, and vertical angles. So if you do not have the booklet that we will be using today, in our weekly planner, if you go to virtual notes, you will find all the pages for our booklet in there. So some vocabulary. Angle. A measure of the amount of rotation between two lines. An angle is measured in degrees. Complementary angle. Two angles whose sum is 90. So a right angle would also be considered a complementary angle. Supplementary angle. Two angles whose sum is 180. A straight angle would also be considered a supplementary angle. Adjacent. Angles that share a side and a vertex, and they do not overlap. Vertical angles. Pairs of equal angles opposite each other. The sum of all four would always be 360. Equation for an unknown angle. So we will start looking at equations today, but we will look more at that tomorrow. Let's start with our booklet. So again, if you do not have the physical booklet with you, it is in our virtual notes. If you do, then you are filling it in with the information on the screen. Naming angles. So you can name an angle 3 different ways. Using just the vertex. So for example, angle B. Using 3 points with the vertex in the middle. So angle ABC. Or using a number, angle 2. Adjacent angles. Two angles that share a common vertex and side, but have no common interior point. So for example, this angle 1 and 2 are adjacent. So again, if I'm moving too fast, you can go ahead and pause and then continue at your own pace. Complementary angles. Two angles whose sum of their measure is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles. Two angles whose sum of their measures is 180. Linear pairs, and we aren't going to be focusing on linear pairs so much, but they are two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays. Vertical angles. Two angles whose sides form two pairs of opposite rays. Last but not least, I would like you to name a pair of adjacent angles, not a linear pair, meaning they do not create, or their rays are not opposite, they do not create a straight angle. I want you to create or name a linear pair, and then I want you to name a pair of vertical angles. So for example, name a pair of adjacent angles. That would be angle 2 and angle 3. Or you could have said angle 1 and angle 2, or angle 3 and angle 4. For number 2, you could have said angle 5 and angle 4. That would have been the only linear pair. Name a pair of vertical angles. You can say angle 1 and angle 4. Let's look at our first slide. So which of the following pairs is supplementary? Remember, supplementary is where it equals to 180 degrees. So in order to figure out which of these pairs is supplementary, we would need to add them together. So for example, I would take 175 plus 14, and what does that give me? It gives me 189. So this would not be a supplementary angle. So from here, I would like you to take a second to go ahead and figure out if B, C, or D are supplementary angles. Remember to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, now that you've taken a second to find your supplementary angles, I can go ahead and tell you that B would be the only pair of supplementary angles. It is the only one that equals 180. So for the bottom half, it says find the supplement of each angle. All that means is that you want to figure out what angle helps convert this into supplementary angle, or 180. So I can simply do that by taking the degrees, or the angle it's already giving me, and I can do 180 minus 108 equals, and that would give me my answer. Or, which would be more helpful moving forward to tomorrow, I can do x, which is my missing angle, plus 108 equals 180. Either one is fine. The angle would help us prepare for tomorrow. If I solve this problem, it would tell me that x equals 72. So my supplement would be 72. And I want you to go ahead and do the same thing for each angle. Remember to go ahead and pause the video. So now that we take a look, I went ahead and I wrote out the equation for each problem and the answer. So go ahead and take a look and see if your answers are correct. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide. So here we have complementary angles, and we're going to do the same thing. We want to first find the pair of angles that is complementary. Remember, complementary angles equal 90 degrees. So 63 plus 27. Let's see what that gives us. That gives us 90. So A would be a complementary angle. I want you to go ahead and do the same thing for the rest. Okay, now on the bottom, let's look at 1 through 6. And we want to do the same thing we did for supplementary, except we're going to equal it to 90 instead. So I would do x plus 63 equals 90. And then I want to go ahead and solve for my missing angle, which would be 27. And I want you to go ahead and do the same thing for the rest. Go ahead and pause the video and continue. Okay, so we went ahead and made our equation for each of these, and we solved. So again, if you have any questions or need any help, make sure to let me know.